Hi, everybody. This is James Fox. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications for the Microsoft Teams user group. Actually, I'm also a local chapter organizer for the Cleveland, Ohio chapter. And I brought some friends together today so we can talk a little bit about Microsoft Teams user group, some of the values of attending and also sponsoring, and talk a little bit about what the group entails. So I'm going to let some of my friends introduce themselves. I'll start with immediately to my left.
Hey, what's up, Teams fans? It's Aaron Romeo. I sit on the board of directors for the Microsoft Teams user group, and I'm the subject matter expert for Microsoft Planner. So all things Planner, your questions you can hit me on at Aaron Romeo. No, joking. Next, we'll introduce Matt.
Hey there, Matt Carlson. I am also on the board of the Teams user group as our director for sponsors and community events.
And I am Paul Martin with Landis. I'm an account executive at Landis. Landis is one of the sponsors, and a few of us here at Landis are also chapter organizers. So, we love talking about Teams user group. I love sponsoring it. Good to be here.
Awesome. So, little background, Microsoft Teams user group is a 501c6. We're a nonprofit trade organization. And what we do at a national board level is we help organize things like content and information. And we are completely volunteer driven. All of us are volunteers. And what we do is we look to different cities to host live quarterly meetings and give updates about what's new in Microsoft Teams and Copilot, as well as deeper dive topics each quarter. And we have a content committee that actually puts the slide decks together, and national sponsors, much like Landis, that help come in and bring financial contribution to help us do things like offset lunch and some of the events that we do as an organization. So what I want to do is turn over to Aaron. Aaron, the board recently started up here in current form, about 3-4 months ago now?
Yeah, top of the year.
Top of the year.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what some of the goals and initiatives are for this year with Teams user group and what we're trying to accomplish?
Yeah. First, I just want to copy paste over. I represent Audio Codes as well as a national sponsor for the Microsoft Teams user group, and I'm also a local chapter organizer for Austin. So, what up, 512? So we have a lot of plans for the future on the growth of the Teams user group, both in scope as well as extending to some of the greater, I'll call them football cities. For the first couple of months, we did a lot of cleanup of our sponsorship participation, getting the right pistons firing, of the engine, so to speak. But our exciting stuff moving forward, and I'll expand on this as given the time, I'll just mention them as kind of bullet points. The exciting new stuff that we want to do is create more of a regional hero campaign. We have national sponsors, and we appreciate the national sponsorship. But there are also local heroes in certain municipalities that don't necessarily want to be a national sponsor. They may want to be more of a regional player. And so we're opening the door to that and trying to create a more inclusive environment accordingly. Other initiatives are just a hardcore focus on those that really are putting their heart into it by way of driving attendance. We've got some really excellent examples in different cities, and so we're doing a lot of training there. And also looking forward to do a lot better and more on social, and that includes potential national sponsorship from, maybe some social support organizations, so LinkedIn, et cetera. So those, I think, are the 3 bullet points.
Awesome. Yeah, so we are looking at expansion opportunities in cities, and as a board, we've kind of looked at where are some areas where we don't have chapters currently, where we'd like to, and really the thing holding us back is finding somebody to be that local volunteer, that local chapter organizer to step up, coordinate the meeting, announcing it, making sure we get the right people in the room so that we can have these sort of discussions. And so we jotted down a list this morning. If you're in one of these areas and you're interested in understanding what it would take to start up a Teams user group, you can contact us, myself, Aaron, or any of the board members. Boston, Massachusetts, Denver, Fargo, North Dakota, Phoenix or Tucson in Arizona, Louisville or Lexington in Kentucky, New Orleans, San Diego, LA, Orlando, Florida, Nashville, okay, St. Louis, and Birmingham, Alabama. And so we've got some areas where we like to see some expansion. I actually give you a little backstory. I was attending several different cities as a national sponsor. I worked for Momentum during the daytime as a major account executive and was going to different cities, and actually was in the Columbus area with Eric Marcy and said, boy, I'm just kind of curious why we don't have one of these in Cleveland. And he said, well, we had one and then COVID, and well, why don't you just go and start one up? And I said the same thing to my boss. He said, yeah, you. So I got voluntold and really spent a lot of time going to different markets and understanding, what made these groups successful, which ones were drawing great attendance. And I said, okay, I'm going to do those things. And so one of the initiatives that we're taking on this year as a board is really to help create a playbook for that sort of thing and to help come in over the top and help you as volunteers. So if you are interested, reach out. We can talk more about it. I want to shift gears. And Matt, before joining the board, you really had a history of coming in as an end user and coming and participating in Teams User. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. That was my first exposure to Teams User Group, was as a user. So just kind of getting number one, in-person events. Like I'm always going to favor those. Remote virtual events are convenient, but just getting community feeling in the local area, getting to kind of network with people that are in the similar field as you, and also just the local sponsors as well. It's always good to have good contacts. So just participating in those as an end user for me is really just fun. And it's not, what I loved about it too was it's very natural. It wasn't like a marketing event. So for me, I really was able to attend, learn like really meaningful updates on the products or whatever the content was for that quarter. And then at the same time, still meet some good connections, whether they're sponsors, vendors, or local people. So it helped me really kind of grow my network locally. And there's a lot of people that were doing what I was doing that I just didn't know were there. And it was just a really good time, and free lunch too, by the way.
Doesn't hurt.
I'm not going to say no to that. So.
Doesn't hurt. I'm on camera so people can tell.
Hey.
I'm there for the lunch. But Matt, it's interesting because you talk about like being able to network and share these sort of things. In the groups I've been in and gone to, both as an attendee and then in my own meeting in Cleveland, the content's prepared. We have a committee that puts this together. They scour the blogs. They find the meaningful updates. They put these together. We get an expert to put together a deep dive topic like Microsoft Places or Teams Phone Playbook or whatever the previous topics have been, Copilot prompting. And then we use that as a springboard to open discussion, really. And you start to, share use cases and bring things up. And, I'll share a quick story if you guys don't mind, but we were at a meeting and a major university was there, and we were talking about Teams Phone Playbook, and they said, hey, it's great, but you can't do this in Teams Phone.
False.
And I was like, well, wait a minute. And, me, I love solving puzzles. So the first thing I did was, well, maybe I have this idea. So I went and I messaged our product team while we were in the meeting, and Mark Vale jumped in and said, what are you trying to accomplish? So I reverb the use case to him, and he goes, well, I have this idea. This is how I would do it. Give me 24 hours. I'll lab it up. So I got their contact information from the university. Mark labs it up. I send it over to them, and they said, what's this? I said, that's the solution for your problem. And they were like, oh, well, we don't work with Momentum today. And I said, that's not what this is about. The user group is about trading ideas, thought leadership. I said, just keep us in mind in the future. So, again, I think that's the sort of thing when we talk about end users coming in, the content's great, but it's to start that conversation going.
Yeah, I think too, like being able to, for me, an important part of it too is to give back to the community as well. So, and I feel that even more so now with my position on the board. But prior to that, we come to these events and we're all at varying stages of skill level and experience and our journey through Teams Phone or Copilot or whatever it may be. And so I love the example of how you were able to solve a problem. I think also just being very blunt and like if the answer is like, hey, you might be able to do it, but I've done this before and it was not a fun time kind of thing. Like that kind of experience has been shared in a lot of my groups as well in Tampa. So just that real world, similar to Comms vNext here, where it's really just community led and experience driven, like being able to share that experience with others and give back to that community is really invaluable for me. I mean, I hope that I'm giving back as much as I've received in this community, because it's been really, it's really paid a lot. So.
Yeah, Matt, one of the things that we talked about because I've known you from user all the way to now full-time employee at Microsoft and now on board. And one of the things that you said to me was, it's just such amazing access to people who have gone before you and done this, and you can bootstrap, that Teams admin console problem or that issue, and try to solve in this way. And so one of the things that you aimed to do when you came on the board is explain that there are many different audiences, there are many different reasons to attend a Teams user group. You may be there because you're a sponsor and you want to network with other sponsors. You may be there because you want user help and constructive grouping on that. You may be there because your goal is to increase your own knowledge, for perhaps something that your company is not even really considering yet. So I guess, James, when you were talking about, hey, we've got these cities open and we're looking for sponsors, what's in it for the captain of that is an immense ability to be the connector in your community. And that's valuable. And you measure that in the long picture. So it very much is, I would say, even philanthropic in that we are bringing real value to everybody that attends.
Yeah, totally agree.
So want to maybe turn gears a little bit here and talk about the opportunities for sponsorship. I know, Aaron, you've mentioned obviously this regional hero sort of thing, but we do have national sponsors. And actually one of our longest national sponsors has been Landis Communications. And so I wanted Paul to come on and maybe talk a little bit about what they do as sponsors besides stroke a check and have their logo on a web page and the quarterly meetings. So Paul, would you mind, chatting a little bit about the experience?
Really, it kind of goes off of what Matt was saying. The community aspect is what we were most interested in, and why we really got involved with Teams user groups. And obviously we're here at Comms vNext. This is another more community-focused event. Those are the types of events that we just love to be a part of, whether it's attending or sponsoring. Landis really got our start and were supported early on by the community. The Microsoft community, and of course there's the Link and Skype for Business through the years, but it was a very instrumental part in the early days of the products that we launched. And so kind of like you said, Matt, just giving back to the community as much as we can was some of the motivation for us getting involved. As far as what we do beyond, like you said, writing the check, we attend as much as we possibly can, because just like everyone else in the room, it is so interesting to hear the stories. It's so interesting to see problems being solved, to see people connecting, and the content is just fantastic. And so as a sponsor, yes, we're kind of in the space, but we learn something every time. Every group I show up at, I learn something new, whether it's from the content that's delivered or the conversations that we have. So that's, and there's just not much ego. It seems like, whether it's a sponsor or someone that's delivering the content or the people that attend, it really does have a community feel, of just like, this is what we ran into, and people that are happy to share. And, from what we've seen, the sponsors are not there to, to push their products as much as they are to just help create a room where people can connect. So
I think thought leadership. I've seen you guys in those meetings when questions come up, and I've been at several where Landis has been in attendance. And the way you guys come to the table and check the Landis brand at the door and really are in there to be thought leaders and share what you guys have gathered over the years and from various customers all across the country, across the world really, and bring those to the table. And I know that recently Preston from your guys' team took on being an LCO in the Columbus area. So really cool to see you guys step up and also help in that respect as well.
Yeah, he's really enjoyed that. He also, our team from the Columbus area there tries to make it out to Cleveland, where you're at there occasionally, up to Detroit, Chicago, every now and then. So, yeah,
Cincinnati,
again,
I've been out with you guys before.
Yeah.
And yeah.
everyone's schedule is busy, but we try to make it out as often as we can because, like I said, we do really glean a lot from it. And, you kind of joke about lunch being the favorite part. It is honestly some of the best, just to be able to sit down, and it's so fascinating. The last one I was at there in Cleveland, actually, you have this like tiny, few person operation sitting down from a major corporation, head of IT, and they're just talking back and forth, and the both of them getting ideas and sharing how they solve problems over lunch, and that you just can't find that too many other places.
Something about breaking bread with people.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
But no, we've absolutely loved being a sponsor. It's again, it's the community aspect is something. We're really blessed to be able to come out to these conferences like Comms vNext. We go to Commsverse and a number of others, but not everyone can make that happen. That's a major commitment. Till you
Budget.
do the travel budget. It's a better part of a week. And so this is kind of like a little mini aspect of that. You can take a few hours right there in your hometown and be able to share a lot of that, glean a lot of that same community aspect in your local chapter there. So we love that aspect of it.
Awesome. And thank you, again, not just Landis, but all of our national sponsors for helping us to achieve these goals of bringing that knowledge to the community. Matt, would you mind chatting a little bit about, like, if somebody's interested, a company's interested in being a national sponsor, what does that entail? How do they reach out to you? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actively, looking for more sponsors, and we're looking to grow. So becoming a sponsor is a partnership for us. So it's not just about, like you said, writing the check and putting the name on the website and the banners and the visibility at these events like this. It's about growing the community together. And we do that with the sponsors, right? They provide that ability for us to host these events and give the free lunch and maybe some swag or giveaways or something like that. But also more sponsors brings more people, brings more participants, sponsors bring their, so it's just a really good kind of cycle there of being able to grow the community. And I think, as you heard, even all of our sponsors are seeing the value of just being more community driven and not a marketing thing, or and just being able to give back to that community. So if somebody is interested in sponsoring, definitely reach out to me. Find my contact on our website, Teams User Group, and then so like in addition to like these events, we're doing some really cool like cross pollination within the sponsor booths here. So that's just one of the benefits, right? Is we have our booth at these major industry conferences. A lot of our sponsors are also there as well. Right. So this year we're what are we raffling off?
We're giving away some Ray-Ban Meta headliner AI glasses.
Yeah. So we're giving away. We have this raffle, right? And in order to participate in that raffle is to go visit with our sponsors. And, we have a little QR code set up at our sponsors that are present here. And so it drives that traffic between not only us, but, that's those sponsors as well. Advertising during the local chapter events, right? So every national sponsor at every quarter is going to get their slides shown at the beginning of our session, and kind of get that visibility. I mean, that's especially, I think, being in person for me is a little bit more impactful than just seeing it on a website, especially as like I know that you attend and some others as well, like encouraging our sponsors to attend the local events, not just the person that we talk with and organize this partnership through, but across their entire footprint, right? If they have anybody in any near local chapter, or they want to start their own, go out, participate, get that engagement in the community, give back, and then also get more visibility as well. So it's not only that visibility across our local chapters, it's also at events like this that become really meaningful.
Yeah, so I'd like to add in, so for sponsors, if you think about we're collecting messages from the national shows. We were at Enterprise Connect this year. We were at Microsoft 365. We're here, Comms vNext. We'll be at Ignite. We're looking at InfoComm. So we go to the major conferences. We absorb the thought leadership, and then we bring it down at the local level. And when we talk to people in booths at a national show, they say, "Oh, my city isn't represented." Yeah, but your customers probably live in our city. And so as Audio Codes, I've been a member of the Teams user group, the Link user group, the Skype for Business user group. I've really used these as a way, okay, I'm going to focus on this city. I'm going to make sure all Audio Codes customers are aware. Come and meet me. Let's press the flesh. Let's break bread. And that's a way for me to concentrate my campaigns and go out to cities where maybe I don't have a customer that will hop on a plane and come to a major, a national event. So it's really been an awesome experience to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go to Philly and I'm going to meet, all of our customers there, and I'm going to go to Grand Rapids and I'm going to meet all of our customers there, and just intentionally, as a sponsor, be able to drive existing customer traffic so that you can interact with them and say, okay, let's get you into the most evolved iteration of communications. And now, gosh, it's just so hard to keep up with AI. Now this provides a place to do that because we're really expanding our thought leadership there.
That's where my mind was going in some of these events that I've been to. Of course, there's always technologies to keep up with, but now especially the timing seems important. So, you can see a lot of concepts and things that are talked about on social, and people, and brands broadcasting a lot of AI, vision casting, that type of thing. But these types of events, you get to see what people are actually doing, and
For real.
People are building some really cool things. And so you get to glean how the experience has been for them, because there's some things that have been implemented that maybe weren't as successful, and but on the flip side, things that really worked well, and being able to hear those stories and actually sit down to lunch with them and say, how did you do that? And what was the process like? The timing is really important right now.
Hashtag IRL. I mean, guys, you can talk about it. You can look at white papers on it, but we're talking to people that, oh yeah, I tried that. Don't do that. Try this, and just shortcut all of that,
Or guardrails too. I've had people bring up, oh, we're doing this, and then another perspective in the room says, hey, we did that same thing. What we learned down the line was we should have done this. Yep. And people are like, oh, okay. And we've hinted at it, but maybe just, kind of level set. What are the personalities that are in the room at these events? So you get participants from the national sponsors. So maybe some of their salespeople or their marketing professionals. You get, local managed service providers, certified solutions providers that come. And then you get mostly IT professionals, VPs, CIOs, directors, maybe some sysadmin that come. But I've also had in some of my meetings, I've had people that are in charge of end user applications, and how do we roll this out to the end users and explain it to them? Totally. I've been in Detroit where the person that's the public liaison from the public relations team comes, because we do a lot, or they do a lot with Teams as a communication tool to the public. And so, we get various different types. Again, if you intersect with the Microsoft Teams, ecosystem, those are generally the folks that are in the room or find the most value from the content.
Yeah, what matters is employee experience, customer journey, all these tools. What we're doing and how we're evolving. What matters most is employee experience, customer journey, and that's why we really try to shape our content on that.
I wanted to add something to what you were saying. Is there was a one of our quarterly meetups in Tampa, just to kind of showcase like the range of participants in this. We had somebody who just saw our messaging on LinkedIn and elsewhere, and they were recently impacted, and they were like, hey, I want to build some skills that are going to make me more competitive in the workforce. They were not an admin. They were just an end user that wanted to build some valuable skills and come and see what we had to offer. At the same time, we had, just to kind of demonstrate the range, we had a kind of a solutions architect from a large organization. We had 3 people from Microsoft. two more people from some of our hardware sponsors and people in the industry, and some other folks like that are more of our kind of regulars that come to a meeting. So it was, that particular meeting was interesting because it was like such a range. Like I kind of really thought about it. I was like, that's such a range of people that were coming together for common purpose, community, networking. Everybody has their own agenda when they're going there, but we kind of leave some of that ego at the door and just kind of, be very humble about, all the way from sponsors to, myself and others that are Microsoft employees. Like I think all of us go there and we learn things and get feedback on our products. I'm very critical sometimes of our own products, and I love hearing feedback because I came from that the majority of my career. So, and then also learning. I had a question for you as well. Have you been to an event where you were talking about like use cases and new ideas and thought experiments? Have you seen examples participating in these events where people were using your product in unintended ways, and then you were like, oh, I guess we never really thought about using it like
yes,
that?
Yeah. That's one of the huge benefits of a sponsor attending these events is just like you mentioned, inviting your customers to come join for the day, and then you get to sit down and actually, not over email, not over Teams, you get to talk about their experiences. And absolutely, it's always beneficial to say, oh, you set it up that way. Interesting.
Yeah, I always find those things as challenges, like, oh, I can't do this. I'm going to overcomplicate this until I can do it. Not always the best way to approach those problems, but it's specifically in these events, like we've even just the lunch portion of our sessions where we're just, chatting, very informally. It's like, hey, have you tried doing this, setting up this auto attendant first and then doing it and it's like, oh, no, I haven't. And I never thought about it, but that does work. And, so.
We get good feature suggestions too.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah.
You guys ought to add a button that does this.
Not a bad idea. Yeah.
I have a use case example. I was in my Austin LCO, my Austin group, and somebody was using our product and they said, oh yeah, we use this for social. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, when somebody makes a, less than positive comment on social, we'll queue that as an action item. And
in Planner.
In Planner. For sure. In Planner. I know my family, for the longest time, gave me such a hard time on because I was a big Slack. Slack, we got to put everything on Slack. Anyway, so they said that, and I was like, okay, well, let's talk about it and show me, and da-da-da. And now it's like, oh, that's perfect, because now who doesn't have a website where some fool is making some comment about, birds aren't real or whatever, and and you need to not whitewash those comments, but you need to respond to them. It's part of customer journey. So that's a great question, because definitely that's happened to me a number of times.
Take a quick second here and just say we've talked about reaching out to us. The website for Teams User Group, awesome website. It helps you kind of figure out who's on the board to contact, and I think all of our socials are linked on there as well.
Social security numbers. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. If you want to, steal Aaron's identity, it'll get you a pack of bubble gum somewhere, I'm sure. But we also have, if you go to upcoming events, that launches you to our Eventbrite, where all of our quarterly meetings based on city are posted. You can go right there and register for the meeting. We also cross-post them, all of them, to our LinkedIn. So follow us on LinkedIn, because we do quite a few announcements. We also do sponsor spotlights starting this month. Landis will actually be one of the sponsor spotlights this month. We're going to have some more content there and thought leadership as well. So just want to make sure you're aware, but it's teamsug.com. So TEAMSUG.com. And go there, and you should be able to find all ways to contact us and reach out. If maybe you're one of these cities where there isn't a chapter today, you'd like to maybe talk about what it's like to be a local chapter organizer, or get one started, or host one. And then also, if you are in a city and you just need to figure out how you get connected with the chapter organizer there and participate, or if you want to become a sponsor, or maybe one of these local heroes that we've talked about. So please visit the website, check that out. Also, just want to go around real quick, around the horn, maybe last thoughts or comments that you want to make. I'll start with you, Paul, as our guest of honor.
Yeah, we appreciate the work that yourself and all the chapter organizers put in. We can sponsor it, but without the work that you guys do to get people out there and the network and everything, it wouldn't be possible. So yeah, we really find it rewarding, and it's always great. So if you're on the fence, if you haven't connected with a user group, absolutely get involved.
Matt?
Come to an event. Let it speak for itself. Go to Eventbrite, go to our website, look up the ones near you if there is one already. If not, like we already mentioned, reach out to us if you're interested in sponsoring a local chapter. Otherwise, go find the one closest to you if you can make it. It's less than half a day, once a quarter, free lunch. Or, every once in a while.
Maybe about that free lunch you get? No.
And sponsoring a local chapter is great for your career. I mean, not that you're all about career advancement all the time, but just the skill sets, and we talked about it here some, but the skill sets that you can pick up by being an organizer, and just every quarter, however often you get out to the events, just being able to have those conversations, you just really fine tune some skills.
It forces you to be
Yep.
up on the knowledge too. It's a very good thing.
Yep. And for your social network.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes we get stuck in our bubble of like, this is exactly what my organization needs. And so this is the problems I'm solving for. And then seeing exposure to other industries or partners that are solving for anything. So, come to an event and let's have a good time.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Aaron?
Yeah, if you really sit down and think about where we are today, May, 2026, you're no longer allowed to be an individual contributor. And that means you have to step up and you have to figure out how to build agents and use AI. And so the idea is AI is not trying to come for your job. It's supposed to give you superpowers and give you more freedom and more time to be creative and connected and part of a community. And that's what Teams User Group is about. It's about teaching you how to do all that within the rich data set that exists. And it also lets you connect with humans that have done this. And when our ideas can kind of kiss and make out, we gain things from those things. When the ideas are allowed to breathe in the same room. So that's why in-person events are so valuable. And it doesn't matter if there's one person in the room or 20 people in the room. Those are stories that you can be exposed to and gain value from. And they are valuable to your growth. So come on.
Awesome.
Come on down.
I kind of want to just take time and say some thank yous. First off to you guys for joining the panel today, speaking about experience. Again, I think there's a lot of different opportunities out there to go and spend your time. I think this is one that's worthwhile, like Matt said. I want to thank the national sponsors for all that they do and enable for us to do and become thought leaders and help the groups along. And want to thank the LCOs that volunteer their time to organize these events and put them together. I also want to thank the end users that are coming and sharing their experience and making it, because that's where the real value comes in when we start getting that synergy and that cross-pollination of ideas. So again, really thank you. And thanks to Eric Marcy for putting the podcast booth together here and giving us an opportunity to come on, and also being on our board and doing all the stuff he does for us from a technical perspective behind the scenes. So really appreciate you, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah,